I-V-M. Hello everybody and hello Aishi.
Hi Tash. We should take a quick moment to
Acknowledge the festive season.
yes, and wish our listeners.
Wish all our
hope
wonderful
that you
listeners.
had a happy Diwali and Saal Mubarak for the new year.
And an overall joyous time of festivity even if you don't celebrate Diwali.
Love and light to you all.
Yes. Ayushi, welcome back. It's good to have you in the studio with me today. Not a studio, I just wanted to pretend.
That would be so. I think the first time we get back into an actual studio and see each other face to face to record is going to be just wildly unsettling because I think I'm not going to be able to focus on the topic. I'm just going to be like, oh my God, you're right here.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at you, touching you. Yeah.
Anyway, let's not focus on the negative that we aren't in the same room, but on the positive, which is this week's episode, which is womanhood.
Yeah, the big W. www.wwoman.com. Say.
No, I was just going to say that as our listeners know, we're trying to repeat some of the older episodes. I feel like a broken record saying this again and again. But
I feel like we've collected a lot of new listeners along the way. So new listeners, get excited.
Let them know.
And you can track back and listen to our episode on girlhood from season 1. If you enjoyed this. And if not, I mean, whatever.
And as you can tell, in 1 year, we have upgraded ourselves from girlhood to womanhood.
Yes, now we are very much comfortable with the W word.
And so we decided that to remind everyone once again that there are some amazing Indian women, not some, Indian women in general are amazing, but there are some amazing leaders, trailblazers in various industries and sectors that we might not know about, that we might not read about or hear about because they're not actively in the media. But we wanted to, obviously remind everyone that there are role models for young girls and young women in our country, and we'd like to shine a little spotlight on them. And after which we are going to discuss our own journeys from girl to womanhood and how we've been doing so far.
Yep.
And hopefully you will relate and won't give up halfway through.
All right, Ayushi, take it away. Introduce us to the women.
So this came basically because I was reading, I follow Vogue India on Instagram, and they recently had their Women of the Year awards where they honor and recognize women in different industries for all their amazing work. And this year, because of COVID, a lot of the people that were picked as the winners or in these categories were people that had done really good work given the pandemic, and then also in relation to the community around them. So I thought that was really interesting because they weren't just like sole achievers for themselves, but they were trying to do something for the greater good around you. So I'll just quickly give the listeners a taste. All of these women's profiles are available online, of course, whether it's on Forbes or India Today or on Vogue, you can find it there. But and you've heard of some of these. So there was K.K. Shailaja, she's the Minister for Health, Social Justice, Women and Child Development in Kerala. And her handling of the pandemic in Kerala was obviously worldwide recognized as very organized, very methodical. And like she held the press conferences every day to stop the spread of fake news and, disingenuous.
Important.
Which is very important.
Yes.
Then there was the Indian women's national hockey team, which not only are like champions in hockey, but they also raised a lot of money for the migrant workers. They took that up as a stand, as a cause, as a team, and they did a lot of fundraising for them. There was Swati Raval, who was the first commercial pilot to lead a rescue mission. She was the one who rescued the 263 Indians from Rome on the Air India flight.
Amazing.
Then Rema Rajeshwari, who was a district police chief in Telangana, who kept, law and order and peace in the district that she was in during COVID. Reshma Mohandas, a nurse who got COVID and then 2 months later was back to working with COVID patients and has helped take care of the two oldest COVID patients that India has, which is, I think, a 93-year-old and an 88-year-old herself.
Ooh.
So she came back to work with them. Richa Srivastava Chabra, who with Makers Asylum, she designed those laser cut face shields, which were like then could be distributed on a massive level to health workers across the country, healthcare workers. And then there was obviously people like Geeta Gopinath, who's the first female chief economist at the IMF. Megha Majumdar, who was the author of The Burning, which was on the New York Times bestseller list. Nilza Wangamo, who is the Ladakhi chef who won the Nari Shakti Puraskar Award by the Ministry of Women's and Child's Development for putting Ladakhi cuisine back on the map and making women in these remote areas of India proud of their, heritage and their legacy and their culture. So these were the ones on the Vogue list. And then I did a little more digging myself to find more women who are trailblazers. So I just wanted to read those out as well. Obviously, you have, Zia Modi, who is one of the top lawyers in our country, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, who is the head of Biocon, Sunita Reddy, who runs the Apollo chain of hospitals, then Renu Sud Karnal, who is the head of HDFC Bank. You have Samina Hamid, who is the executive vice chairperson at Cipla. There's so many women who are at the top of their game in these industries that we don't always recognize, and we don't know the good work that they are doing to try to take the community up with them.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Nisaba Godrej, who heads the Godrej Consumer Goods GCPL, I think. She not only she contributed massively to the sales of the company, but she also did things like making sure, LGBTQ rights, so that health insurance for GCPL employees covers even same-sex partners.
Wow,
which is
that's amazing.
Which is a huge thing, because this is what we talk about when we say that if you are a person in power, it's your responsibility to take people up with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So these are the kind of women that I was really inspired by, because our last episode, we actually spoke, unfortunately, about how that in India, young girls and young women don't always have role models in the industry that they might be interested in.
Yeah.
Like banking, finance, healthcare, whether it's media, like the head of India Today is a woman. The head of the Times Group is a woman. So like there are so many women today that it's obviously not enough.
Yes.
Nowhere near equal.
No.
But I think it's really important to note that we were wrong. There are role models for women. And
absolutely,
it's our responsibility, not only as people who have the ear of whoever's listening, but also other women around, to share these stories, to say that, hey, she's really inspirational, and she made it to the top of her game in a bank, and that means women in banking, you can do it. It's harder, sure, but let's focus on the fact that can happen. So these are the kind of things that I was very happy to read, very inspired by. I myself didn't know that these women were in power, and so I've made the notes to follow their journeys.
This is really amazing, mind-blowing information, because honestly, and also not full points to our media at large, because the news doesn't really always cover all of these amazing achievements by all of these wonderful people.
Absolutely.
We sadly focus on other things sometimes, and we're not giving important things coverage, okay? So that's why you have us here. And Ayushi, thank you so much for telling us this list of wonderful women. I think I'm also going to read a little more, because I myself am also a little unaware. And
think about it. ICICI Bank is headed by a woman. India Morgan Stanley is co-chaired by a woman. Like, these are all things that I didn't know. And it's not only because I don't work in the finance sector, but I was unaware, and I want to see more profiles of these women being covered in the papers, as opposed to the same 10 CEOs again and again and again and again. And I hope that we'll be able to give these women platforms so that they can tell us how they did it.
Yes, absolutely. Because that's now the next step, where we get inspired, and then we figure out, okay, how did you get there? What are the steps we can take?
The roadmap,
And the roadmap,
and I'm not trying to alienate the men in general or the male community, but it's like they have the roadmaps for every single industry possible out there.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, I would say, while it is important for young women to have, for young girls to have female role models at large, whether they're male or female, can be of benefit to all genders growing up to emulate. So
Yes.
I wouldn't say role models should be gender specific or
You're
gender
right. You're right.
biased.
I should have.
But it's good to have more and more women on the forefront. That's for sure. I'm 100%
Yes.
with you. Yeah, it's not something any of us saw really like growing up.
Yeah.
It still continues to be an extremely patriarchal world that we live in, which is the truth of it. But there is a kind of tipping in the scale, maybe a slight like leaning towards, yes, we are stepping into a potentially more equal world in the next 20, 30 years when we as a generation also grow up and come into positions of power. Maybe by that point, there will be a considerable number of women doing the same jobs as men, if not.
We did speak about this, at how we'd hope that the world that our daughters grow up in would be vastly different from us, in the sense that they wouldn't know that there was such a huge discrimination between men and women.
Yeah, already.
Or between the sexes. Let's
Yes,
put it that
absolutely.
way.
It will be. Now the internet has changed things up in a huge way.
Yeah.
Our upbringing also is, I think, different from our parents' generation's upbringing where gender was concerned. And of course, we have a lot of privilege. We live in a city like Mumbai.
Yeah.
We're very cosmopolitan, very open-minded, all of that. We still have a long way to go as a nation, but target audience is listening and they are with us. So अपन करेंगे तो अपन और लोगों को ये सिखा सकते, दिखा सकते, whatever. So it's like every drop. Okay, guys? Yeah. Okay, everybody's with me now. Chalo. Ayushi.
Yeah, and this doesn't even, what we've been saying so far, this is just like the little spoon from the top that I have found like quickly been like, leaders in these spaces. But if you were to dig deeper in terms of like, first of all, I would say the non-profit NGO sector is dominated by women, because women have that innate need to serve, to give back, to lift the communities around them. And so I know, like you said, that role models shouldn't be gender specific, but I really do think that women make wonderful role models, because they aren't only like, not a lot of them are very just one dimensional, like they only did the career. It's like these women did 6 other things while doing the main job as well.
And Aishi, actually, that's the biggest one for me now with growing up.
Yes.
That's the one that blows my mind the most. Multitasking. Also, because now I see my parents' levels of multitasking. And yeah, hello, dad. Mom's multitasking hell of a lot.
More than you.
More than you, for sure. And this is the kahani har ghar ki, I feel.
And I think it's just because males have the more stereotypical role of like being the bread earner.
Bichare na ek box mein bas phas gaye bichare.
That they are seen as like, oh, you did that, so that's the main thing. But anyway, not to go down this very thing that this generic line that we all know. We know this is a fact. But that's why we're like, going back to it, like, I think women make great role models, and young boys, young children should see more female role models, because 8 out of 10 times they stand for a lot more.
A lot more than toxic masculinity.
Yes.
For sure. We have to be also, with the increase of female role models, I think we are saying bye-bye to toxic masculinity and the role models of that.
That's what I was kind of trying to pivot to without actually, you said it right, because that's what I was looking for, is that while male role models are excellent, sometimes they are representative of that old guard, which was very, hyper masculine, hyper competitive, hyper derogatory, and hyper sexist. So I'm saying you don't need to be that person to become successful. There are normal, holistic, equal ways for you to succeed in life. And women are good examples of that, I feel.
Yeah.
Not to say that all our hands are clean either. We have seen our fair share of women who have involved themselves in nefarious activities, and we've all been shocked and been like, "Et tu, brute, how could you do this?"
Yeah.
But have you noticed how that's another thing? Like, when women mess up, it's seen as the most colossal, huge, devastating thing that she's a
Yeah.
woman and she did
Because how
this.
could she? She's supposed to be good and kind and all of those things.
Because we always hold women to this even higher standard. So it
Of
makes it
moral goodness.
moral goodness as well. It's like, oh, he's
Yeah.
a man. That's normal. Men do
Yeah.
this. Men,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, so
Yeah.
not only do I have to work doubly hard to get there, if I make a mistake, I'm pulled down twice fold.
So the normal behavior that has been normalized by men of generations and millennia before us, they have been like, yeah, this is it, how it is. And women of the generations before us and millennia before us have also gone on propagating this very thing. Men are like that only, don't bother.
Yes. No, we are part of our ancestors on the women's side are as much part of the problem.
Absolutely.
Because they condoned
Yeah.
it, whether it was their son, their brother, their husband, they allowed it to happen.
And I think even now, being woke and being aware and being all of these things, I still feel at some level, even we allow miss small ones to like slide by, small ones in our everyday lives, maybe sometimes in the way we think or we talk to or interact with people of the opposite
Yeah,
gender.
of course. I mean, we let so many things slide. I don't
Yeah.
think we need to dance around that. I can
Yeah.
openly say that I am a feminist. I'm very pro equality. I don't think that needs to be said, but there are certain things that in my own friends group or within, say, a comment that a family member makes or something where you're kind of like, okay, you know what? I'm going to let it go. Like, I'm not. Whereas the thing to do would have been to be like, actually, the thing is, that's really fucking wrong.
Yeah, so over Diwali weekend, a small anecdote from my family. I was with my mom, my sister, my aunt, my dadi, and my dad.
Yeah.
So there were 5 women and 1 guy, my dad. Still, he has passed some comment at the dining table being like, mathu khawanu bo game, which is like, women love to eat your brains, essentially. And Natasha and I have just looked at him and really considered, do we say anything now? Do we make this an issue? Do we not? After 30 seconds of silence and death stares from me and Natasha, he's like, but I was just joking. And I'm like, these are the problems also. You can't joke like that. And I wanted to get into a very big argument, and not even an argument, but like a telling off. But again, it was just the young women at that table who really seemed to have a problem with it. Everybody else was like, yeah, okay, whatever. He's gonna say things like that, and that's fine. And this is my dad, who is a feminist, as he claims, surrounded by women also, but still making jokes like this.
No,
But what do you do?
I agree. I'll give, if we're doing anecdotes from Diwali weekend, we do Lakshmi Puja in our office, as I think a majority of this country
Yeah.
does Lakshmi Puja, right? Because, and we had a lot of good news this weekend. Like my dad's, my father's, one of his oldest friends became a grandfather on Diwali, and he had a baby granddaughter. Like his son had and so we were all so excited as a group of friends, and obviously all of them were like, oh my God, Lakshmi Avi, like Lakshmi's come on Diwali, what a lovely thing. And I was
Yeah.
sitting around thinking, I was like, if you are so happy at the arrival of a young baby girl, I'm so happy for that. I'm so happy that you wanted a baby girl because you love it and you get to spoil this girl and do everything for her. Great. I was like, that little logic though should translate for the rest of this young girl's life.
Yeah,
It needs
for
to
sure.
always be that she is as equal as everyone else in that family.
Yeah.
And then we had Lakshmi Puja. I usually am the one who sits for this for 2 reasons. A, I work for my family business. And secondly, I'm the only grandchild who's ever here. All the others don't live here. So the young woman. So I'm at the puja, and obviously the pandit in peak panditness has obviously made some random comment about women or something like this. And I was about to reply and flare, like, because my go-to level is, I'm gonna just start with you right now.
Yeah, yeah.
When my father, and he saw the expression on my face, he heard the comment, I was about to, and he has put his hand on my hand and pressed down to tell me, not
Hold
now,
your horses.
Ayushi, we are about to do a puja.
Yes.
And I was like, but the point is, in my mind, I don't want the puja to be led by someone whose intent and
Yes.
mentality is this. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy.
But most of their intent and mentality is this only. So now what will you do?
So I was like, this man, I just simply cannot. Anyway, so my dad has and I have looked at him. It took all of my self-control to be like, okay, I'm not going to upset him right now in this moment by starting this argument. But the minute that the puja was over, I looked at him and I was like, may I? And he himself looked and he's like, go for it, tell him. And I'm so glad at that moment he realized that there's nothing that's going to shut her up. So my concession to him was, I'll keep quiet for the duration of the puja. After which, and that Pandit at the end of the thing was like, I suppose if I'm going to have to be invited to your pujas further, I'm going to have to change my mentality. And I was like, absolutely. And my uncle, my aunt, everyone was sitting there. They kept quiet. And I was like, see, I'm so glad I have branded myself as a crazy, angry young woman who will start shouting. Because if that means that all of y'all shut up, I will.
Well done, Ayushi. You've done a great thing on Lakshmi Puja Day.
But I was so upset that my dad even put my hand down.
But puja start hone wali hai, Shubh Muhurat hai now. Ayushi, you don't mess with the Muhurat, okay?
That's what his thing was. He was like, at the start of it, why do you want to start
it has to be a Shubh Aram, which means an auspicious start. On that note, let's take an auspicious break.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, they will slip back in.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Want to wish you all a happy Diwali. Hope you had a great festive season. It's been a great week in terms of the kinds of guests we've had and the kind of conversations we've had on the network this week. Do definitely check some of these things out. On This Round's on Me with Gauri Devidayal, she had a great conversation with Garima Arora, who's one of the best-known chefs in the world. It was just absolutely riveting. Do check that out. On States of Anarchy, Hamsini Hariharan spoke about chronicling India's different wars. Again, really interesting episode. Check that out. Ashton had a very interesting episode on his show, The Habit Coach. It was called I Don't Feel Like Doing Anything. It's about how to overcome malaise just generally, and I thought really, really interesting stuff. Kumi Vayana was the guest on Cyrus Says on Monday's episode last week, and she's an educator, and my God, it was such a fascinating conversation talking about the way education functions in India and some of the changes she'd like to see. Just really, really interesting stuff. Do give that a listen. On Uncle Please Sit, Anupam Manur was there with Joel and Tushar talking about the Indian economy, part one of a two-part series. Second part will be out this week. You should definitely check that out. Lastly, I want to talk to you all about the Filter Coffee podcast. Karthik Nagarajan, who hosts that show, was on a little bit of a break. He's back with a banger of an episode. It is with Himuramaya, who used to run Landmark Stores, and they talk about the culture of bookstores and quizzing and all kinds of stuff. Really interesting conversation. Do check that out. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
And we are back.
I think a tip that I would like to give everyone is that if you are going to discuss patriarchy, do it over a samosa. Because the Pandit then, after the puja, we gave him some snacks. And as he was eating the puja ka bhog, or whatever, the samosa that I had provided him from my side. I was like, the thing is, you cannot say these things. मेरे सामने तो मत को. किसी और के सामने पर मत को.
Correct.
Anyway, so I'm saying, if you want to discuss patriarchy, bring a samosa. It's a peace offering.
I like that. I like it. Bring some snakes.
Give your uncle a samosa and be like, here's why you're wrong. Why his mouth is stuffed with samosa. Tell him.
I'm never going to look at samosas the same way again now.
Good. You'll eat them more now because you realize they're breakers of patriarchy.
Yes. All hail the mighty little samosa.
Love a good samosa. Anyway. So, having talked about this thing of role models and all, let's kind of pivot to the idea of us also becoming okay with the term womanhood.
Yes, absolutely.
The title of what it means to be a woman, right?
It's a lot of things, firstly, and I think with each passing month, we are becoming more and more aware of the complexities and the layers that
women are onions, basically.
But this is an endless onion. I just want to tell you that you can make an infinite amount of onion peel rings from this.
Seriously.
Woman.
It's like, actually we should not say onion. It's like a tree. Because when a tree trunk, those rings, women are trees. And that's a great metaphor because it's also like, the tree of life. It's a community pillar. Like, I like this. I am a tree.
Yeah, I'm also a tree. I am going to take on to this.
I'm a big banyan tree.
Banyan? Like you're a ganji.
I love banyans.
So definitely this woman thing, Ayushi, I was always a bit iffy about the word woman. It
Why?
felt too real, it felt too intense, it felt like somebody who has babies, gets abortions, has health problems, has to serve in laws. Yeah, in my head, woman matlab ye sab karti thi. There are many things. Not in addition to, of course, working and earning.
I
That's
didn't
my main job.
I didn't like being called a young woman. I felt it was very rude to be said like, oh, but young women don't do this. You should behave like a young
Yeah, but
lady,
I
like a
don't know
young
which
woman.
British people you are hanging out with.
No, no, no. I'm saying normal people be like, no, but like, can you just walk like a young lady? Can you sit like a
So
young
young
lady?
lady is a big mess up, I
Okay,
feel.
yeah. So sorry, not woman, young lady. My problem was with the term young lady.
Anything, I think lady is a problem. The word lady is problematic. Should we debate upon this?
Ladies log.
Lady, what is a lady? A lady is like a lord and a lady, right? If we're going
You
back,
know,
that's what a lady is.
fun fact, Ladies Log was one of the titles
One of
that
the
we
working titles for
for the show.
ASA.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, I have a problem with lady because the connotation of what a lady is My Fair
Yeah.
Lady. Like,
Yeah.
means
Yeah.
you have to be thin, fair, attractive,
And
uh,
well mannered and
well,
polite and all of these
timid,
things. Timid
timid,
big one.
and you need to be also maternal as well as, pretty enough and attractive to your husband, a good home and caretaker.
Yeah.
It was this woman is not so much the problem. I think it was lady.
Lady, that was the
Lady was
problem.
the issue.
Absolutely in agreement with you. So now that we have discarded lady,
Yeah, I don't like lady.
we come to its more solid, empowering counterpart, woman.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a punch in woman, I feel, as a word, the way it rolls off your mouth. I am a young, attractive, powerful, sexy, talented, beautiful woman.
correct.
Feels so good to say, oh ho.
You're acting as if you don't say this to yourself every single
No,
day.
I don't actually, Aisha. I don't wake up every day and be like, I am a woman. It's a lot, I've become okay with it, but doesn't mean I'm still mentally, I'm still in this, we are kind of bordering between the girlhood, womanhood transition. So somewhere I still feel, oh, I am baby.
No, I
But
think now we are young women.
yeah, no, now though we are. Like,
I
there's no
I
way
would not
around it.
call myself a young girl because sometimes now at my age I'm like, girls are so dumb.
Yeah,
No, I don't mean that. Young girls listening, I don't mean it like that. I mean it like,
all young people are dumb, whether you are girl or
yeah,
boy or other.
exactly. I meant
Anything.
young people. And
Yeah.
you yourself, when you get older, you'll be like, oh my God, these children
I
so
was so
dumb.
dumb. Yeah. Yeah.
But to kind of bring us to that women thing, what was it that you felt really made that switch where you suddenly were like, no, I'm a young woman now. Like these are things that young women do, that this
You
is
know,
a woman thing. Like
I think
I'm not a
honestly,
girl anymore.
yeah, I'm not a girl.
Not yet a woman.
But I am. That's the thing. अभी ब्रिटनी के आने के आगे पहुंच चुके हैं हम.
Exactly.
I would say the main reason for that is the passage of TIME.
Yeah, age, basically. Age brings you to womanhood when you
Another year
realize.
around the sun, another year at work, another year dealing with people, another year dealing with 52 period cycles, another year dealing with hormonal changes, another year dealing with lovers, yeah,
Family,
family expectations. Another year of all of these various things, I think, has made me
a woman.
okay. Yeah. And I think up until last year, nobody in my family was really like, yeah, you guys should get married. But now I think that they are like, my daddy has given Ashirwad on the day on
Huh,
Navu Varas, on
correct.
Sal Mubarak Day. I've touched her feet and she has said the normal Ashirwad, which is all the nice things. And at the end, she added a new Ashirwad, which is Vela Bela Lagan Thei Jai. Means jaldi jaldi शादी हो जाए तुम्हारी. I'm looking at Natasha and we're like, ah!
My nanny has been adding that one since now 2 years.
Oh my God, this one
Means
happened for the first time.
no, my nanny has added it for 2 years now. This is the third year where she wished me a good husband, and this year I told her, I think you are jinxing me because year on year it's not happening. So maybe you should
Maybe,
stop.
yeah, nice.
But yeah, you're right. I think it's just the simplest answer is the more you live, the more you realize that I have now like this is the path. Like, and I'm happy to go down the path of womanhood. Like I'm excited to be a successful, hardworking, responsible woman. Like I know this sounds like heavy stuff to say, but I'm not.
Responsibility.
Like
Yeah,
I want to
that's
be I want
Yeah.
to be a functional woman.
Yeah.
I'm not only looking at it as adult anymore. Like
No.
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman, adult
Adult.
woman.
I'm an adult woman.
Yeah, I'm a grown ass bitch is who I am now.
Yes.
Anyway.
But I want to be, like, I want my womanhood to be a part of my functionality as an adult.
Yeah, and I think now I've also become comfortable with the idea that a large part of my identity and how I identify with this life that I've been given is through the body of a woman. So
Yeah.
how do I discount it? How do I try to be otherwise or try to reason otherwise? I am becoming more attuned to the fineries of the inner workings of a woman's body.
Yeah. And I think it's like I want to give it credit
Yeah.
for, like, I don't want to negate it so much where we don't recognize that there is something innately, like there are challenges of being a woman, but there are those plus points, and I want to harness both of, like, the energy and strength from both of them to be able to be a successful adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know that the roles that I'm supposed to fulfill via society's angles, that's one. But now I think as you grow up and we are modern women, you create
whatever.
you create those goals for yourself now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, you want to be someone that you're proud of yourself, but I do have aspirations of being like, I want to be the kind of woman who, like, grows up and then turns around and, like, takes other women up with her. Like,
Absolutely.
like empowers other women or, like, inspires other women.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is too important. With power and privilege, that's one thing you must do. Everyone. That's like, I feel like it's now come to a point where that feels like a responsibility also. It is part of the...
But isn't it the true sense of how we've grown up that responsibility is not something that we're shying away from anymore? Of all the responsibilities, I'm happy to run away from. This one, I don't want to. I want to be like, give it to me. I'll take this one on. And I think that's a huge thing about growing up. Like, when you realize that you're not just fighting for yourself. And if it means fighting, like, if our generation and the next one has to fight for everyone else, so be it. It's so that the ones after don't have to do it. Like, that's the point. It's why people fought for the vote. It's why people fought to be recognized as equal citizens. It's why people fought to be, recognized outside the house for equal pay. And we forget, so often we forget how much went into bringing us even here. And we complain about being here. So there's so much work to be done. And I think being a young woman, you now have to wear that added responsibility. It's one more thing that you need to put in your bag every day to be like, I have to carry this.
Yeah, and that's so for sure. But on I just had another thought. So entertain it.
Yeah, of course.
Another thing I've noticed in myself, and this now we're 28. Biologically also 28 to 30, your body is kind of at its kind of peak of womanliness, if you would, okay?
If people could see my face right now.
Just entertain my thoughts.
No, because I know where you're going with this. Go.
What? No, I want you to say it, and where am I going with it?
No, go for it, and then I'll agree.
You'll agree. I think there's something to be said about the sheer power that women actually do have. In a world that is dominated by men, but where do men weaken? Where women are in the picture. There is that whole thing of, you do introduce, like, there is some kind of a sexuality power play angle at this also.
Yeah.
Which is definitely worth exploring, because now as a 28-year-old, when you flirt with a man, you know the power that you have over this person.
Oh my God, yes. I wasn't
in a
going to go down
different
this
and more
path, but I
complicated
agree.
way. Yeah, I think that's one of the fun rushes of being a woman, and there's like a power rush in that.
You're
and
right.
I think, yeah.
Oh, continue. I love this one.
Did you think I was going here?
No, I did not. Because I was.
Do you think I was?
I thought you were going biological clock.
Babies, yeah, no, of course.
Because that's somewhere that I can't believe it, but my brain has gone.
We have gone. We discussed this also.
That I now look at a baby and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know, could be cool. It's a mistake.
Yeah.
Don't go down that path. But you're right about this, about like owning your sexuality, your womanhood,
Because when we
your
say
power,
manhood, a
your
person's
power,
manhood, we're talking about his penis,
and you're talking about his
right?
power.
Exactly. So the penis and the power. So now if we're talking about womanhood, hello, I would like to have not, I mean, womanhood is inclusive. And now I just want to take a moment here to say,
Yeah.
yes, we're being inclusive of trans women, people who identify as non-binary, and everyone under the blanket of womanhood. But just for this little power of the vagina, just want to put it there also.
And it's the power, like you're right. The older you get, the more confident you are about your body, your mentality, what you like, what you don't like, what you're looking for, what you're absolutely not looking for. So I think the way you said it, like when you talk to a man now, you understand the dynamic here.
You literally know what's going on, and you're like, yeah, okay, cool.
And-
I know what buttons to press. I know which.
And you know what, girls?
Go for it.
Yeah, take what you get.
Just do it. Just feel that power. Also feel that rush. I think
It's a
it's
rush.
a really fun place to be sometimes.
I mean, safety first, consent always, and
Always.
practice, like know your boundaries. I think I don't want to, like there are young girls and they're
Oh no,
impressionable,
of
but
course.
like,
Yeah, no. Consent is key. Educating oneself is key. Read up, ask questions, speak to a therapist, speak to a family friend, speak to a friend, a parent.
speak to us.
Speak to us. I mean, see, these things anyway you must speak about openly, I feel, so that you can enjoy them fully.
Yeah, absolutely. But when it goes to the power dynamic of it, absolutely know that you have power in that situation. You
It's
do.
like, yeah, what
You
Cersei
have-
said in Game of Thrones, the most powerful weapon is between a woman's legs.
Yes, because
Wars have been fought for.
yes, and you
Yeah.
know, like we have agency in the bedroom that women don't always
Own up.
assert
Yeah,
or own.
yeah. Own
And
it, own
I
it.
think it's important for women to understand that it's not, it's not transactional. You can decide where you want it to start and where you want it to end. You can decide what you want from that situation because, men, if you're not listening, that's fine right now because sometimes they're very dumb. It is easy to control them. But this is all under the umbrella of being an adult woman, of moving towards womanhood, that power that's there. And there is power in that word. There is power in this role. So Tash is right, even though you don't wake up every morning saying, I am woman.
I am woman. At the back of the mind and at the bottom of my nethers, it's there.
But you should know it. And walk into rooms owning
that
now.
room. Own that room, own your identity, own yourself.
And it's harder. It's definitely harder said than done because, I routinely walk into rooms where I feel less than, or I feel
small,
or I feel very scared because there's only men. But I swear, the minute you start, stunting a little bit, you put your feathers out and you're kind of like, I'm going to fake a little confidence here, make a little quip there. You then realize that the minute you are portraying confidence, everyone else can pick up on it, and then there's that respect. They might toe the line, and that's what we need, is for everyone to just toe the line.
Toe the line, yeah.
Toe the line. But yeah, I'm happy that we did this episode. This is something that I think 2020, these are all the good things to come out of 2020, because we've had so much self-introspection time, so much like emotional digging that we've done.
Yeah, another thing which I think is going to be a long and sustained part of the human journey, and to a larger extent the female journey, is the complexity of emotions and feelings, the various ones that come and go. To acknowledge, to entertain, to be with, to live with, to let them. They are there, I feel, to teach us something. Like there is a lot one can learn if one listens to one's inner voice. And I think with this 1 year having passed by, I have definitely started to do that a little more, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. Yeah. And women's intuition they talk about, you know,
It's
it must be
real.
a real thing, you know.
No,
I'm
it
with
is
you.
real. It is
Yeah.
real. And it's like that gut, a woman's gut, we know. And listen, don't be scared to listen to that gut feeling. You are right. Believe me, if you think he's up to something or something's off, it is. Anyway, it's good to have this chat once in a while to remind ourselves that we are powerful women, that we are on the right track. And I hope whoever's listening, boy, girl, and every other permutation combination that you'd like to identify yourself as. Look,
Yeah.
we are women and we will roar.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
listen.
Yeehaw! That was the donkey kind of sound I made.
Or
Oyo.
a cowboy.
Yeehaw! I'm a cowgirl.
No, I don't like cowgirl
No,
as
I
a
don't.
word.
I know. It's really pretty weird, eh? But it's a cowboy is also weird. They're all weird words.
All weird words. And again, I think some words have been co-opted to mean other things and now you can't disassociate it.
Absolutely. Yes.
On that note.
On that note, thank you all for listening. We are welcoming you all to invite you to DM us. Let's take this conversation forward. We can take any conversations forward. Really share your thoughts, share your experiences. We would love to share them with the rest of our listeners and to chit chat about such and such also.
And you can follow, if you like this podcast and would like to check out other such cool podcasts, you can find them on the IVM podcast app or ivmpodcast.com, and you can follow them at IVM Podcast on all social, which is Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yes, and if you want to follow me on Instagram, which I recommend, you should find me at RYTASH.
And you can follow me on Instagram at AyushiA9 and help me get to my goal of being able to swipe up links.
Yes, so then you can attach the episode.
Yes.
All right.
And we hope, once again, that we have earned the
privilege of your time. Yes, absolutely.
Bye, guys.
Very well.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep, or lose weight, or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting app.
रिश्ते में तो हम तुम्हारे पॉडकास्ट लगते हैं. नाम है फुटबॉल शुटबॉल.
Presenting Football Shortball, a show about three friends discussing our favorite game over a beer. Sometimes 3, maybe even 5. Hi, I'm Shiva, and with me are my two sidekicks, Gaurav Sapre and Karthik Iyer.
Sidekick? You mean like Batman's Robin or Van Persie Robin?
No, I mean like Alexis Sanchez, but with a little more skill than just playing the piano.
Just shows how the best players at Arsenal are mere bench warmers at United.
Oh, thank you, Iyer. But you're a Fulham supporter, so whenever you say anything to support me, I question my beliefs.
Just like how Griezmann would say, एक बार मैंने जो decision ले लिया, तो मैं अपने आप की भी नहीं सुनता.
Banter aside, we will talk match reports, transfer rumors, top controversies, fantasy football picks, and so much more. So grab a beer and tune in to Football Shortball every Wednesday on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.